when we're voting and taking action, if we could just make sure that she gets that information, that would be great.
Yeah, so Mayor,
Apologize for that.
No
Okay,
problem.
because she doesn't know everybody's name, so.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay. Not a problem. So moving on then to public comment.
I would suggest we wait on that until at least 6 o'clock. We're not at 6 yet.
Okay,
So I don't know if you want to offer the opportunity if anyone shows up after 6.
yeah. Do we have anyone in the queue at this point, Sean?
Can't hear you,
Oh,
Sean.
Johanna has a question. No?
No, Wendy just came in. That's the only person else that's new.
Okay. I just wanted to give the opportunity to at least wait to the legal starting time
understand.
for that.
I understand. No problem.
We can always come, maybe we can just say we can come back if somebody comes in that has a comment.
We've got 30 seconds, so. I think.
We're cruising tonight. Wind's picking up.
Has anybody else joined, Sean?
No. Doris Mitchell just joined, as you said that.
Okay. Does anybody have any public comments? It is now officially 6 o'clock.
Sorry, Deanna Sticker, about that.
No, that's
Just want to
okay.
make sure
It's not a
that
problem.
we don't have a problem down the road.
Moving on then to item 7, Chair, Superintendent, Principal, and Student Rep reports. I'd like to just have a couple of comments. I want to, first of all, wish best wishes to Sean, who is with us tonight, although he had surgery, he had a plate put on his collarbone yesterday at the hospital, and he looks to be doing really well. So we're really pleased, and we wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you very much, Mary.
Yes, recover quickly, Sean.
Thank you.
Here, here.
I also want to put out a special thank you to the people who served on the negotiations team this year. They put in a lot of hours of homework, a lot of time and commitment. And I think we're almost at the point where we're going to have a very successful resolution of that. And it's in large measure due to the fact that they worked so hard in doing that. So thanks to Georgia and Joan and Deb and Bob Green for all of their efforts and hard work with respect to that. It's much appreciated. The other thing I'd like to share, we don't usually exit from our board meetings. That gives us an opportunity to walk down the hall of the high school. But I would encourage you, if you're in the building or even tonight, to take time to do that. The hallways are filled with wonderful work projects that the students in the high school are doing in science and in math and in social studies. And I spent about a half an hour with Ro last week going through those, and they're just really excellent and a wonderful demonstration of what the students at the high school are doing. So I would encourage all of you to take the time to take a look at those too. That's all I have. I'll turn it over to you, Georgia.
Thank you. I would like to start, I know I sent something out, but I want to make this public. I'd also like to congratulate Sean for being selected as one of the
That's
10 finalists by the Department of Education for the RISE Award, which stands for Award for Inspiring Employees. A press release will go out at sometime in the spring that's going to actually highlight Sean. And congratulations, Sean. Well deserved.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
Next, I just want to let you all know that after April vacation, we will be interviewing for kindergarten positions. Right now, we have 2 applicants. And so hopefully I'll be bringing a name for nomination in May. Really good news. We've been waiting for a long, long time for our minibus. Our minibus should be here any minute. It could be pulling in the driveway at any moment in time right now.
trip.
Driving it up?
They're going to deliver it. Yeah. So we're really excited about it.
Available for parties, bar mitzvahs? No?
for now, and it will now maybe give us a little bit of relief for the lack of bus drivers that we have right now, because we're, as you know, you're not required to carry a CDL with it. So Jeff, thank you very much for making that happen for us. I know you've been on lots of phone calls
You
and
did a good job with that whole process. It was
Yeah.
Not easy.
yeah.
And driving around buses, I need to say.
Yeah.
So you'll be seeing it going through town pretty soon. It's white and it's gonna, I don't know what color lettering it'll have on it, but it will say Rangeley. It'll say either RSU 78 or Rangeley Lakes Regional School. Do you know what?
It's both, I believe. is what I
Okay.
sent in.
Okay.
I think we should pimp it out this summer though. Full wrap. No, wrap it with Lakers.
I agree, actually. I think it would look really, really nice if we
Get
added
sign
some.
marks and bagels.
Yeah.
Sam on it. Be great.
Yeah. And then a little bit later, I will be doing a presentation on the budget for you all. And that's all I got.
Okay. And since students are with us this evening, I will turn it over to you, Seth.
I know, no students. Like, so
Can't steal their thunder.
I was kind of relying on them. So I just want to piggyback. I want to give a shout out to Jeff. We are down to, we've got 2 running in the morning, but the afternoon, Jeff is doing a lot. He's driving to McGalloway twice a day, building maintenance. So nice work, Jeff.
Jeff, you still have all your
Still
fillings?
standing.
Good job, Jeff.
Route 16 is pretty rough right now.
I
You,
lost my soul.
you can lose a filling
I
out
lost my
there.
soul on one of those pumps.
Yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
And I was at first when we had to do this, I was like, oh boy, but parents, the community have been, at least outwards to us in the bus loop, been great, just kind of understanding, doing what they needed to do. So that's been great. Sports are underway. We've got the varsity baseball team. It's kind of a co-ed. It's really a co-ed team this year. They've been practicing every day. I don't know when their first game is, Jeff. Do we know?
It's the end of April.
End of April, they've got a game. Softball, baseball, middle school have been practicing. We got games starting in May, so that's kind of been fun, but everyone is ready to get outside in this warm weather. It's making it like we're almost there. And Mary Mamami was nominated for Franklin County Teacher of the Year.
Yeah.
She made it to the final 64. And it's funny, I remember when she was going through, she's like, oh, Seth, I don't know if I want to keep going. I'm like, you got to keep going, because they put these deadlines on you and you're like, oh, do I have it in me to go to this next one? You make that one, you keep going. So that's exciting. And I guess that's all I have right now. We're just kind of getting ready for break. We got kids in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
I've been seeing bits and pieces on social media. Looks like that's going really well. Yeah.
There's
just
a blog for it too. I shared on
Oh.
Facebook. Kate has a blog going, so you guys want to check
Right
it out.
on.
So
Yeah.
she's in the 64, trying to get in the Sweet 16, down to 1
Yep.
per county, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Cool.
you get the county, I think, goes to, and then they go,
Go
for
to the
then you
grade
go
8,
to the
yeah.
teacher of
Right.
the state
Yeah.
teacher of the year. So, yeah, that's kind of what I have. There's
Okay.
tons of stuff going on, and just people are ready for April.
Great. Thanks very
Yeah.
much. Okay, moving on. Kathy, do you want to talk about policy or do you want me to do that?
Oh, you can do it, Mary. I didn't bring anything with me.
Okay, I knew you weren't going to do that, so I understand. Policy committee met on Monday, April the 3rd, and reviewed a number of policies. And tonight we'll just be bringing 2 policies to the board for rescinding, but the rest of the policies were just simply reviewed. Kathy's done a wonderful job of getting us caught up. We're now well within a reasonable 3-year cycle, so we finally have that under control, thanks to her hard work. Finance Committee, Chris.
So finance, we chose not to meet this month because we have the budget in. That's done. We'll be looking at things as the year wraps up in May and in June, but for now it made sense to not meet for tonight for sake of simplicity. I think we're in good shape. We're tracking great this year. Roxanne's all over it, and her and Georgia have done a good job, and Wendy and the whole crew. So I feel like we're tracking well, and I think we're in much better shape than we're going to see with the municipal and the county. County's looking at some really big bumps there, and the municipal is still they're barely into their budget process. So the nice thing is for us is that our part will be done and into them, and they can see it, so that will help them
With their
as they go
process.
through the process, and hopefully, we've led well by example. In fact, I've talked to both folks in the municipal. I haven't talked as much with the county, but on the municipal about how we did the zero cost budgeting and going back through to 2017 and looking at it, areas to nip tuck, and that worked well for us. And hoping the municipality can do similar and look at their reserves and decide what they could do there. So hopefully the taxpayer impact, at least from the school district, is going to be de minimis. And if we can continue to track that way, I think that behooves us. And I feel like we haven't really taken much away from. And Georgia will get into that when we get there, but I think we're making the right choices. So.
Thanks, Chris. I
Yep.
appreciate that. Danielle, the Facilities Committee.
Okay, so this month we are meeting later. I believe it's the 26th or 27th. I would have to look at the date. Nobody was available to be able to meet. But we did meet on the 24th of March. As I said in the last meeting, we were going to meet as soon as we could when a bus became available so we didn't lose another one. And we did buy one. It was $84,900. We had budgeted $70,000 because we had a grant for that. And the rest, we had a surplus in our budget from this year. So we're taking that extra money from there. And it will be delivered, as Georgia said, very soon.
Okay. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. There's on the agenda is the Curriculum Committee, but I believe, Kathy, if I'm correct, that they did not meet. They have not met
No.
yet. Okay.
No. We'll probably be meeting in June.
Okay. We can skip
Madam
over.
Chair,
Okay.
when do you think we'll have some results from that in June, or you expect July in next term?
In terms of,
Well, we've had this as
Well,
a state committee most of the year.
We'll be
so-
meeting in June, so I
Yeah.
think that,
2 months ago,
Yeah.
and reviewed our goals.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're meeting in June, and really most of the work has been done, so it'll just be a recap.
So for the
Yeah.
June 14th meeting, will we have,
I think so. Yes, we probably should have something to say at the June meeting.
Okay?
yeah,
All
that'd be
right.
great.
Thank you.
I was just curious.
Deb and or Joan, the Negotiations Committee.
Joan, are you present?
I'm present.
Would you like?
He's here in body and spirit.
Well, I'm here in spirit. I'd like to just say again a big, huge thanks to Georgia, to Bob, to Joan, Mary, and myself for these. We have put hours in. We met weekly starting in November, and with a few glitches here and there. And I believe, are waiting for the teachers to review the final proposal that we've put together. We've agreed to pretty much everything. We'll have more information at the next meeting, but it was a very long, generally cordial process. There were a few bumps in the road, and I'm really pleased to say that we've come out with something that is going to benefit our teachers and our community and our board for more than just the life of the contract. Joan?
Thank you, Deb. I think that's a great assessment.
I hope it's over.
Oh,
I was beginning to wonder if we were all going to qualify for free and reduced lunch. We were at
Oh.
school.
Yeah.
At school so often.
ooh.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Joan?
I think I was just say we're done.
Okay. And I think that, there had been some history that negotiations weren't always cordial, but this was, I think, overall a very good process. We listened to each other, and I think we had the opportunity to form a sense of mutual respect on both sides of the table. And, if we can walk out of this with that, I think we were extremely successful, and it was definitely worth the time. But thanks for that assessment, Deb and Joan. I appreciate that. Okay, moving on to
I had a
item 9.
question.
Chris?
I just had a question
Yeah,
on that.
sure.
One is, will it be able to wait till mid-May to do the ratification? Does that have any effect on them contractually and the team? Are they fine with that?
We're in the process of doing the ratification now.
But I mean, for
Yeah.
us to accept it, do we need to have a special meeting?
No, we'll do
Okay.
that at our May meeting. We'll
Okay.
fall within the parameters of the deadlines that
All
we
right,
need
I
to
just
meet.
was just
No,
curious.
no, I think
because
it's
I'm
a
trying to
really
plan my
valid
month.
question. It's a
And,
valid question.
The
And
second thing I wanted to know is, obviously can't discuss all the terms, but is there anything we need to look at budget-wise to
No.
adjust, or we're good?
No, we're
Excellent.
well within the parameters of what we had anticipated.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That
So I
was
think-
that was my hope, that we wouldn't have to go back.
Well, that
So-
was our ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our ultimate goal, to say the least. Okay.
See, you.
Listen, I wasn't worried, Grace. You were.
I was.
We were in most capable hands,
Yeah.
believe me.
Good.
That was a terrific committee, and the combination of expertise that people brought to the table really facilitated
We had
that.
a wide array of experience and
We
knowledge,
surely
so it
did.
was
We
good.
surely did.
Yeah, but we'll
Okay.
be negotiating support staff.
Contract
Next
next year.
Oh, hallelujah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I know. That's what we all said.
Joe, you're-
Okay, moving right along to item number
And this is a
9.
3-year deal, right?
This is a
So this
3-year
will be-
contract.
Good, so if we
Starting
do
in-
this one next year, then we get a year of break.
We've got a year of grace. We have a
Hallelujah.
year of grace. Yeah. Okay, appointments, resignations, nominations, and transfers. Georgia.
Yes, I actually have, I have quite a few tonight. First, I'm nominating Jason Aceto as our interim Title I teacher for the remainder of this school year. So I guess you have to take an action on that. You have to take, when I'm nominating teachers.
So
No, you
No,
you
you
just have
just-
to notify
you
us,
just
but
notify,
usually
you
give
don't
us
have
the
to
background,
nominate.
but Jason already currently works here,
I
right?
think you do have to take action on teachers and administration.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
So
fine.
can I have a nomination then for Jason for the Title I position, interim till the end of the school year?
Move that.
Okay, Joan, a second?
The second for me.
Second.
Jason currently works here, correct?
does,
Yeah,
yes.
I've met
Yeah,
him.
he's an
Yeah.
ed tech. He is or has formerly been a certified secondary social studies high school teacher. He's getting conditionally certified for his 020, which is a general elementary endorsement.
Yeah.
And he's working under, he will still be working under the guidance of Katie from afar.
Right.
Katie
Great.
Willis from afar. Right.
Awesome.
Are there any questions or concerns or discussion on that position?
Will you let us know when he gets his certification?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually was on the phone with DOE today, and I asked for an insurance for that before I made the move. So
Right.
they've insured me that that's in the process, and he will be awarded that. So
Okay. Now, this is a little bit of a deviation, but in a review of our policy, when we have this many people on Zoom, we have to do a roll call vote. And so that'll also be applicable to all of the action items dealing with the budget tonight. So I'll begin with Kathy.
Can I make a suggestion? As we go, unless we think there's gonna be any issue, let's go through all 4 and then we can
Oh, all
approve all
right.
those
Yeah, we can do all four.
one
Are there
shot
four?
unless there's
So
an
the only,
opposition.
so the only other nomination that I have that you'll have to take action on is our middle school
Middle school
math
math,
teacher,
yeah.
which is Ian West, and I'm gonna let Seth do a little bio on him
Okay.
before.
All right.
And I think Ian's with us.
There's Mr. Ian West up there, top center for us. I don't know where he is. So Ian, I'm going to try here and you fill in if I miss. So yeah, we're hiring Ian, middle school math. He grew up in Jackman. That struck me right off on his application. He went to high school in Jackman.
Terrific.
Got thumbs up from his principal in Jackman that he's a good guy. And currently he's at Orono. He finished his Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education at Orono, and he's currently working towards his Master's of Science in Teaching. And one thing that struck me when you look at Ian's application package, it said secondary math teacher all over it. Like, you know, his first year in his Master's, I think he was an instructor of record for intro level courses. And I was like, so why middle school? And he just had seen at the secondary level the needs, and you know, kids are coming to high school not liking math, and he had some ideas about how to look at that and promote that. So Ian, if you want to say hello, or
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for that introduction, Seth. Yeah. I'm really interested in supporting, my big thing is self-efficacy with students, and supporting their confidence in learning mathematics. I think is a huge thing. If we can get students to feel more confident in their abilities as math learners, then we can do a lot, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ian?
Just thank you for attending, because usually when we hire somebody new, we don't see their face. So when I see them at school, because I have children in the school, I don't recognize them or even know who they are. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'd love to be there, but I am 2.5 hours away. So
I'm 30 hours away.
We're more than happy to have you here by Zoom, Ian. It's just as effective. And thank you for that comment, Danielle.
thank you.
That's very true. It's really nice to have these candidates here in person.
It
So with
is.
that having been said, can I have we amend that motion to appoint both of these positions, the Title I position as well as Ian for the middle school math
As
position?
a fellow Blackberry, it'd be my privilege to add him to that.
Okay, let me do a roll call vote now. Kathy?
Aye, yes,
Okay,
yes.
Johanna? She's not here.
No,
Yes.
she's right there.
Okay, if you could say it, it would help. Kayla?
Aye.
Yep.
Karen? Karen?
Aye.
Okay. Chris?
Aye.
Deb?
Yes, y'all.
Danielle?
I,
It must be April. You guys are full of it tonight. Honest to Peter. Joan?
Yes.
Amber?
Yes.
I say yes. Bob's not with us. So that's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Well,
It's all that vitamin D that we're
Congratulations.
getting, Mary.
Congratulations and welcome to the district.
it's official now, Ian.
You're here.
We're really excited. Thank you for
Okay.
saying yes.
You also
Thank you.
have an
Yeah.
I have,
coaches?
yes, I have coaches and a kitchen assistant. Now, these are appointments.
Right.
So I am appointing April Freeman as our kitchen assistant. Seth, would you like to speak to her?
Yeah, and just quickly to back, so Bruce Trulin decided he wanted to be our kitchen supervisor, so he moved into that. And April Freeman came in, like we had not many applications. She was like, I really want to do this. I've been waiting forever. She worked here in like 1989 to
Yeah.
1991.
That's
Close.
great.
So many
Keep
community
on.
members reached out without asking for recommendations for her. So she's moved in. She's really happy. She's learning kids' names, which is the hardest part of the job sometimes. And then Kim Snow is still coming in because we had approved that like the 12-hour position. So
Mhm.
she's coming in on busy days to help out and also helping Bruce learn how to do the paperwork and stuff. So we're happy to have her. Her and Bruce seem to be working well together. So
That's great.
April Freeman.
Terrific. Thanks.
And Bruce has a culinary background too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
gets to the
Yep.
place out in McGalloway, right? Or something.
Coaches?
Coaches. So I'm appointing Lindsay Savage as our middle school girls softball coach. Sean Russell as our middle school boys baseball. And Patrick Sullivan as our varsity boys baseball coach.
Okay.
Ooh, Patrick's a
Great,
good guy.
thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, moving on to action items on the agenda, and that will begin with your presentation, Georgia, on the
Jeez,
budget.
oh,
Come on.
all right.
So if the budget passes through the board tonight, I hope it will. My letter that's attached within the budget, it will go out to the community.
Okay, share a tab. Tab. Oh, actually, that one right there, right? Yep, that. Seeing it, Sean?
yeah, but I see presenter view.
Yeah, you want to set the other one.
Right there?
Share this tab.
I still see presenter view. Oh, there it is, right there. Nice.
Okay, now can I just
You can
flip
go back to the other one to work on.
this one, right?
Yeah.
But we got to see it in here,
Yeah,
though.
you just click the.
Click here, right there.
I think you could just sit where you're at, Georgia.
I think the way if I go here and I click.
Yeah, you should be
Okay,
able-
there.
you go.
All right, yep, we're good.
Thank you, Seth. Nice job.
Is it all right if Georgia?
Good job, Seth. You're a fabulous fill-in.
Yeah, you-
This is
This kind of helps you kind of stand up. and do a
Zoom is
time
definitely
advance.
easier for the screen sharing.
You're full of it tonight, Chris Farmer.
I'm making your life
Good
easier.
Lord.
We have been for a couple days now.
Oh my
All right,
God.
George, you
wound
just
up
got to
like an
give me
AD
the
clock.
cue when you're ready to go.
Okay,
All right, I'm ready.
you got me?
That's why I'm sitting awkwardly.
And you don't have to read every slide. It's okay.
I'm not gonna read every slide. This is it's similar to what was presented to you last year,
Yeah, it's
obviously
very
just
succinct.
different figures. One thing that I did add in this year that we didn't have last year, Seth, you can go to the next slide, please, is our mission and vision.
Ooh.
Mute George's.
Oh, mute George. Well, if I mute this, you won't hear us.
Right. But is George's the one that's presenting?
No,
but
no,
she's
it's
not
my
online.
computer.
His computer.
Is there two devices in the room that are on?
Everybody but this one.
How's that?
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
just mute everybody. Okay.
I can stay right here, actually. Everyone can see, right?
Yeah, just hit the numbers right there and you're good.
Chris, do you have a mute button?
No, Mary.
Just
Wow.
wondering.
Take off.
Just take
All
it.
right.
Okay, so one thing that
My wife wishes there was one.
one thing that was added this year to this presentation that wasn't last year, and it's very important, is to our mission and vision, because every decision that we make should be tied to that. And I'm very proud of our mission and vision. We spent a lot of time on this, and I think it's still very much applicable to us today. Okay. So the instructional areas that will be included in this budget are career and educational development, English language arts, health and physical education, mathematics, world language, science and technology, social studies, and visual and performing arts. Our goals for this budget and this coming year: to maintain excellence in programming for students, to maintain high quality support services for students. Very proud of our student services team.
Absolutely.
We have new families coming in all the time, and they can't believe what we have available for our students, the resources that we have in this building. To maintain some facilities maintenance and upgrades as needed, align staffing needs with the needs of students to ensure safety and improve academic achievement, to improve an environment conducive to learning, and to ensure our goals are aligned with our vision and mission.
Can I just make a comment too about the student services team? Because I know that there's been a lot of discussion nationally over the past year that some of the impact on students with respect to COVID isolation and so forth is really beginning to show itself in terms of mental health issues on the part of students in schools across the country. And the fact that we have such a marvelous team of people who are here to support and intervene with kids, I think is just a hallmark of what a wonderful school system this really is. You've done a great job with that. We should all be proud of that.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it was the board that supported it, so thank you all. Okay, we can go to the next page. So let's get to some highlighted changes within the articles. Article 1, you'll notice an increase of $53,293.33. So the increases, you're going to hear me say this a few times through this presentation, included, increases in salary and increases in health benefits. We have put in the budget an additional teacher to integrate technology and support gifted and talented programming. So that was formerly Katie Willis's position. She was a K-8 interventionist / GT. So she has built the program up. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Her and Sean together. So we know now that we really want to focus on computer science and offer those enrichment opportunities for kids. And, some anticipated increases in teacher supplies, shipping costs, and copier usage. So instead of purchasing consumables, which are the workbooks that kids would work through, we have copyrights to print all of that stuff now. And so we're doing a lot more printing than we have before. So you'll see some increases around that. And our high school ELA class really was in need of some new reading materials, some updated reading materials. So you'll see that as well.
Good.
Yeah, Article 2.
Oh, sorry.
Special education instruction increase. You'll see an increase of around close to $30,000. This again includes estimated increases in salaries and benefits and additional contracted services based on individual education plan requirements, more specifically around our psychological evaluation costs. Article 4, other instruction, an increase of $1,939.21. We have added in assistant coach stipends to all of our sports, not just basketball, to create some equity there. And you'll see a decrease in dues and fees currently being paid by ESSER 3 grant monies.
Do you want to take questions as we go or at the
Yeah,
end?
go ahead and throw your questions out.
All right. To me, if it's only a $2,000 increase, I'd almost leave it out because you have so much to cover during the budget presentation. $2,000 isn't that big a jump in that article, is it, percentage-wise?
I don't know.
Just a suggestion. I mean, I would just say there's a slight increase in Article 4. And
Okay.
I'm just saying because you're on the time frame.
Yep.
I mean, I would say if we have multiple of them, that is because if you have like 5 increases of $2,000, then it would kind of matter. Like people want to know that. We just have
$6 million budget. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
no, I know that, but
That's a good suggestion.
people have questions. So
are you advocating, Danielle, for it being left in or taken out?
no, I'm saying no. If it's just like 1 or 2 or 3, it's not a big deal. But I'm saying maybe if it's more than 5, that's more than 10 grand, then maybe people would want to know.
Or maybe loop a couple of if they're similar near each other, then loop them together to say, Articles 4 and 5, the total increase is 98,000 and it relates to this. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think when you're going to get up in front of the public, Georgia, just how you can
All right.
move along it quickly. That's
we
all.
can look at, let's get through the presentation.
Yep.
If you have questions, I'll take questions and
Okay.
then we can tweak the presentation
Yep,
for
absolutely.
the
Yep.
public hearing
Ready?
after. Yep. Article 5, student staff support. You're going to notice a increase of $96,000. Again, increases in salaries and benefits. We had one of our employees change a health plan and overall increases to health costs. And elimination of a half-time elementary guidance counselor position. That was formerly Brittany DePompo's position, which Katie Willis stepped into. That position has been dissolved. Due to an increased need of STEAM education, technology, integration, gifted and talented programming, we've added a full-time technology integrator position to meet these needs. And this position will be a K-12 position. And system administration, there's a decrease. I don't think you need me to explain that, do you? Actually, there was one place that we did sort of, cut was in our board contingency fund. I think we had like $40,000 in there. We hadn't used any for a while, so we cut some of that out. And we did increase our board supplies a little bit.
And that
covers like staff parties and our end of the year party and those kinds of things, which our staff very much appreciates.
Yeah.
It goes a long way with morale. And decrease in health and dental benefits with our retired, with Sheila Raymond's position. Sheila Raymond stepped away. Okay, next page. School administration, an increase of 20,000, salaries and benefits. And Roxanne, where does our admin assistant, is that part of the increase here as well?
On the school administration,
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
because Kim Dovier's, Kim and Wendy's positions, we changed how they're being, in the cost centers a little bit because of the positions. Especially Kim, her position has changed, being that she's doing work in the, support or student support area.
Yeah, she's an administrative member on that student
Right,
support team, right?
So there's a distribution of the cost there.
Okay. All right, thank you. Article 8, transportation, an increase of 2,000. There was an elimination of a half-time bus driver position, which we've been advertising for forever and
Can't get anybody.
just, can't get it. And I think I had said this last year that we had cut the position out of the budget, but the position actually didn't get cut out of the budget. So it is cut out of the budget this time, and added fuel costs. So facilities and maintenance, an increase of $72,541.94. I think the most significant increases here are in electricity and the heating oil, which I don't think is any surprise to anyone. And, an increase in maintenance and repairs. We had an unforeseen backup, I guess you could say.
That lobby incident?
Yeah, and we have a plan for furniture replacement in the building, so we're starting to budget for that.
And kind of an interesting comparison here is that under Article 9, there's almost a larger increase in terms of that cost center than offsetting salaries and benefit
Yeah, I think
increases.
that was more of an impact to our budget than,
Yeah.
anything
It's
else.
an impact across the state
Mhm.
worldwide, and it's an easier,
Absolutely.
and if there are places where you're gonna be able to explain easier to the public, it is there. And
They're feeling it too.
we're making sure we have a good reserve so that we come in at or below budget versus over budget, and hopefully costs drop, but they haven't really been tracking that
Yeah.
way. And the furniture replacement piece, rather than taking out the capital reserve, we're going to just slowly try to replace things expense wise, rather than getting hit with a several $100,000 bill when everything is junk.
Exactly.
So just trying to be
Some
prudent.
cascading.
We
Yeah.
do have some desks in our building that, Jeff, tell me if they're like 40 years old.
Yeah, we have some classrooms that have like 3 different styles.
Yeah.
And so we're just,
trying to do
Yeah.
rotate them in,
Exactly.
get everybody in like 4 or 5 classes, same desk, because I can carry the extra parts, but the problem we run into is when this teacher has this style and this teacher has that style, we're forced to carry different inventory. And we can get everybody in the same thing, and then if a class changes size-wise, we can move some of those same desks. Just
trying to standardize so we're not functioning.
Jeff did a really good job, in creating, in this budget, in working with teachers on furniture needs and making sure that, do we have things already in our building that can be utilized in storage? And so that really helped a lot with keeping this budget fairly lean, but then also talking about we looked at at like 2 classes, I think, for next year's replacement.
And since students spend a majority of their time at the desk in those
Yeah.
pieces, that it's important to have
Mhm.
proper
Yeah,
equipment
decent,
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
a similar experience for all students versus some students having to use less inferior
Absolutely.
equipment.
So some factors that we really should consider, ongoing teacher negotiations. As you were just told, we have come to an agreement with RTA and are in the process of ratifying that, and it's fairly early in the year to be doing that. So I'm really happy that that's behind us, or will be behind us soon. Unknown increases in healthcare premiums. We should be finding out about that soon. The addition of an elementary ed tech and a technology integrator teacher. So 2 new positions, increases in energy cost. And I just want to just make a point that our ESSER 3 grant funds, they are going to be ending September of 2024. So a lot of relief that you're seeing right now in the budget is because of those grant monies that we've had since COVID hit, and they're going to be drying up. So,
And Chris, I just to comment, one thing you really push for, and I think has helped to make this a very tight budget, is the fact that because healthcare premiums are one of those things that you just don't know how high they're going to go. You press to have everybody identify what healthcare plan they wanted to be on this coming year. So, in terms of the tightness of those figures, it's predicated on what people actually are going to be having.
Correct.
health
And
care.
then did we, I can't remember because we kicked it around. Did we leave part of that contingency? We went with the actual, or I can't remember.
we
off
went with
top of my-
the actual,
Actual.
where everybody is right
We went with
currently,
actual-
but we
Currently.
budgeted at a higher percentage rate.
Right.
10%.
But did we leave in a partial, or do we pull, I can't remember the last, I don't have that in front of me.
I'm sorry, somebody on Zoom?
I think somebody sneezed.
Oh, somebody just sneezed. Okay.
So we put in actual of what we are.
Right, but we didn't leave that contingent thing we talked about,
No,
right?
we
Yeah,
did not.
so, right, so I've seen in the corporate world, some large increases that have happened. We budgeted a standard increase with the actual assessment of what we had.
Right.
And that's based on historical, when our audits have come back, we have sat with some decent surpluses. And a lot of that's been because when we budgeted for new positions, we budgeted for full insurance for a family of
Everybody,
4
yeah.
or whatever, and it's 24, 25,000 versus then somebody comes in there. So we've had a little bit of savings there. So be prepared that if we finish the year out, especially in the insurance category, that we're either right where we thought we were going to be,
Yeah.
or we're behind budget. But my goal is that we're going to, because we do have a good undesignated that when we finish historically year after year, that we have some flexibility there. I don't want people to be alarmed that we finish the tax year that we're slightly over in a couple areas, because it is possible, because events happen.
Oh, sure.
People have children.
Yeah.
People get married.
Right.
Things change. But we just felt that with this year to try to strategize, I would suggest, if we can, Georgia, that you get some kind of a number that with Roxanne that says what the amount that is covered this year in the ESSER 3 grant funds in this fiscal year budget, and put that number in there. Doesn't have to be exact, but within 1,000, saying, approximately 250,000 of our budget is getting relief from ESSER 3, just
Good
to
idea.
notify the public that that's
That's coming.
next
Next
year
year.
into deal with.
Yep.
So people aren't like, well, you didn't tell us. So if we put it in there, then
I think
they
that's a
told
good
us.
idea.
And then my only other comment, which I think you've done a great job with this so far, is that I would avoid, with us, it makes sense to have that conversation, but when you're doing the formal presentation to the group, I would avoid mentioning names of people from there. I would just stick with the positions. I mean, for us, it makes sense to talk, Sheila or whatever, but I think when we're presenting to the public, we stick with just, we're replacing this position, or we're reorganizing, because the change from Katie's position is now bifurcated into 2 other things, but we're also trying to make an expansion in the technology piece. And does everyone, the board members, understand what we're talking about with what we've done with Katie's former position, with the expansion there? Because that and our facility costs are our 2 big expenses this year. We've developed this technology officer person that's going to be working, which Sean can talk a little bit about. And maybe if we had a paragraph or 2 that kind of explained what those 2 positions are going to do going forward, so that the public can really understand. To me, when we reviewed this at the finance level, it seemed like a good investment, much like 2 years ago when we restaffed and restructured the student services because of everything that happened with the pandemic. I think it's paid off for us, and we've gotten good dividends on that by having some of that structure. And I think this will pay off for us on the technology side, for integrating for the student experience, sticking with our mission. So I think it might be good to have kind of a paragraph about how those two positions are going to work, because I don't think we're going to be hiring for those this summer, correct?
Yes.
Whether it's internally or externally. So I think it might be good to kind of talk about a paragraph of each of those.
Okay. The only other bullet point that I would just want to mention is you'll notice a little increase and dip in the cost centers in the K2 salary and benefits in the 3.5. It's just that one of the teachers was in the wrong cost center, so she was moved to the right cost center. Okay. Also, the district lost about $35,000 in state subsidy due to a decrease in identified students in special education. So we lost 4 students, and so we were impacted in our subsidy. And it's just also important to always remember that we are a district that's a minimum receiver. Right.
Does everybody know why that's the case? Everybody on the board?
Yeah.
Because the public struggles with that. And
I was
years
just
ago,
going to ask.
yeah, years ago, we had the opportunity to integrate when Governor Baldacci was trying to reduce the number of districts down. We were proposed to merge with SAD 58, and then all of our students would integrate with the Mount Abram facilities. And we as a district chose to remain autonomy, and we petitioned for what's called island status. This is similar to Vinyl Haven, and that because of our location in the mountains and having students travel down off the mountain, we wanted to stay here. And for that, we get the penalty of no state funding for our addition. We had to raise that money ourselves, and no state funding for on an annual basis to subsidize us. Now, there was an article that just came out recently in the Press Herald that shows all the districts that got money, and ours shows $0.
Right.
I had a constituent text me that and say, "How come?" And once I explained it, he understood. But that's an important thing as we enter this budget season for the next month or two between now and voting. People are going to ask you, why don't we get state subsidy? The reason is because we wanted to protect our school autonomy and be able to not have our children as young as kindergarten spend an hour plus on a bus or two to go down to another district area and back. And unfortunately, that's the price we
Chris,
pay.
it's also predicated on the amount of tax base we have. And because we are lake communities with extremely expensive homes around the lake, we have a very high tax rate. So therefore, that also is why we're a minimum.
Well, we have
receiver.
a high, yeah, correct. We have a very high tax base, but our actual mill rate is lower than most areas.
Right.
And don't forget, about 88% of our community tax base is second homeowners, which
right.
do not have children in the district.
That's right.
So we get a deal on that too. Now, also new board members, I'd like to also coach you on one other thing. Is a common thing that comes out in the public is, boy, our cost per student is really high compared to what you look at in Portland and some of those areas. Well, it's what's called an economy of scale. It takes X amount of teachers and labor, whether we're here or not. The analogy I always used to use was up at Saddleback. I said, it takes 6 or now with the new quad, it takes 8 people to run that quad, whether there's 50 people skiing for the day or 5,000 people skiing for the day. It's a certain amount of labor that's required to do that. And so here in our district, we're required to have, guidance counselor, superintendent, principal, all our teachers that we need in order to provide the proper education and meet our educational goals. And so regardless if we have 150 students or 800 students, for us, it takes,
Right.
it's the same. So our cost per student looks a bit skewed because we have only 200 students plus, and we have, you know, a staff of, what are we up to per staff at this point?
around 55.
Around 55. But the nice thing is that part of what you can sell back to the community is that we have a great student teacher ratio to the point that, you know, it's almost like a private school. And we've had incredible faculty, and we've had students go to prestigious schools all around the country because of the education we're able to provide. So just remember those things, because those are usually the two hot buttons, and especially newer board members, you sometimes get to be the fodder for the locals who get upset about that. So, and if you need help with that, you know, we're all here, those of us who've done it a lot of years, and glad to help out if there's questions. And you know, I think Georgia, Roxanne, Seth, and Mary, the team here have done a great job to be ready for that and can handle that. We've had budget seasons that have been a lot of angry individuals. We've had budget seasons that have been pretty quiet, and I'm hoping we go through this one pretty straightforward. I don't think we're doing a big leap here on costs.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
All right. So the next couple slides are just visuals. I'm a real visual person. And so I'll give you guys a second to just look at, you know, it's basically just a visual presentation of how our budget breaks down for the different articles.
You okay?
Ready?
Yep. And again, this is actually broken down. It's just another visual to show the past 3 years, you know, the trends in the different articles. Okay, and again, here, these are the total local allocations, so what each of the towns are being asked to raise, and this is, again, just another sort of visual to show.
George, I have one small suggestion on that. Is it down below you put the number of students underneath
I
each
actually
of
have
them?
a slide that's coming up that shows the number of students.
Okay, I just thought
Yeah.
that it really dramatically shows
Yep.
that piece. I don't know if you can.
I think
integrate.
it's the next slide, so it'll
Yep.
show
It does.
the increase and decrease with each of the pupil counts for each of the towns.
I'm just saying that it would also helpful if they could see it on the visual graph. Just
How
as
do
a
you lose
suggestion.
a half a student?
Well, it's.
Let me tell
So,
you.
yeah.
Joint custody. Joint custody.
Joint custody.
Joint custody.
Okay.
One parent lives in one community and one lives in the other. It's a great question. I asked it years ago.
It actually got asked last year at our budget
Yeah, it
hearing.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right. It did get asked, didn't it?
And every
Yeah.
October, we do the census, right, to determine.
Yes.
Mike?
Miriam is very much involved in that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to read this one. The Maine EPS funding formula for 2023 established a mill rate of, it was, believe it or not, it was 7.29, and that was an error. So it has dropped down to 6.97
Okay.
from 7.10 last year. Based on the average state valuation. So
Right.
what that means for us basically is that our district can afford a $7 million, $440,000 budget.
Well, it means that's the most we can charge without
Right.
having to have
Right.
additional approval.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which goes back to what Chris talked about a little bit ago, which is why, one of the reasons why we're a minimum receiver.
Right.
The budget being presented to you all tonight is $5,468,266.
Essentially $2 million.
24 cents. The district's budget shows an overall increase of 4.9%. Increases to the towns on average is 6.8%. Once all subsidy has been applied, which is up 5.4% over last year. That's it.
And Georgia, could you
No
just
more.
give a quick explanation for why there's a difference between these percentage, overall increase is only 4.9, but actually adds up to 5.4 when everything's been calculated or applied? Is that when the subsidy's been applied?
I'll let Roxanne speak to that
Could you
one.
speak to that one, just so that I have a cogent answer for that?
So, the 4.9% is the allocation. Okay, let me think about this.
The 4.9
9% is the revenue, like, so like the towns, like what they have to pay.
Okay.
So if you take last year's allocation of all the, like the total dollar amount and this year's, what we're proposing, it's a 4.9% increase. And then the 6.8% increase is just the expenditures themselves, last year's expenditures versus what we're proposing for this current year coming.
So what
Why are
happens?
they different?
Well, yeah, I'll explain to you also a different way too, Mary, is that, did you notice how much is in Rangeley versus that? And that the population switches around.
Right.
So what happens is that it'll never be the same because there's always people moving.
Between.
So what would also be helpful, I think, here is to say the budget shows an overall increase of 4.9%. Let's put the dollar amounts like 250 grand or whatever it is, right? How much is the total?
It's about
5% is about 270, I think,
Yeah.
right, of 5.4. And then on average, the town is 6.8 once all subsidies applied, which is up 5.4% last year. So I would almost put in parentheses what the last year number was. So last year number, if it went up 5.6 it's on average, it's 6.8%. So last year's increase was 4 or 6.5%. So that the people understand this, last year went up 6.5, but this year it's gone up 6.8 with that part. So I don't even know if you feel we have a fiduciary duty to put that there, then I guess we can put it. But I think it causes enough confusion that I would just stop with the district budget shows an overall increase of 4.9%.
I agree with you there,
Because
Chris.
let's talk, if I'm just so I can clarify, it's talking about two different things. Like last year, our budget was a 3% increase.
Right.
But the increase to the taxpayers was only
Right.
1.3 because its percentages two different things. Like
So 1% is about the overall increase to the budget. The other percentage is the overall increase that the towns are being asked to raise.
so. it's
So
different
which
numbers.
figure, so then let me ask you this, which of those two figures then is the more applicable figure for people in the towns?
Well, it's a misnomer, Mary, because say for instance, it's a $250,000 increase, but if all of a sudden Rangeley has 10 more students, then they're paying a bigger
Right.
percentage of that
Right.
250 than they
Right.
paid over the last
Right,
year.
right.
So to me, I think it's going to cause a little bit more confusion. So I'd either address it on a different slide or I would just not list that piece because I think all it does is statistically makes people's heads spin. and
Crazy, yeah.
It's kind of double speak. I
Yeah.
mean, is anyone opposed to that? I'm just thinking if we just show the 5% and then put
Yeah,
the actual number.
I would leave the 4.9 and leave
Put
it
the
there.
physical number,
Yeah.
Right,
270.
with the physical number. Right.
Does anyone think that is
I don't
bad?
think that's misleading.
I don't want to
it's not.
confuse
No, no.
people.
I think
That is
I think that second line confuses people.
Yeah, I'm looking at it saying,
Ian's
why are those
smiling up there.
percentages different? You know?
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
I agree. I think the second line definitely confuses people.
Yeah, I think, yeah, just leave it.
And
at
let
the
them do their own
4.9.
calculations
Yeah.
versus down there. And I think they can say, well, it affected us differently on, yeah, it does, because again, it's per
Kids
student
moving around
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 new kids move into Rangeley versus live at Sandy
Right.
River lost one, so
Yeah.
they actually save money.
Exactly.
I agree. I think the folks in those places can calculate, their own pieces.
Well, it's all about posturing, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
well, it is. And
a little
people,
bit.
because what people are going to remember is generally speaking, what was the increase in the budget?
You're right.
Got it.
Which if
That's
you,
what they're going to,
and if
that's
you,
what they're going to want to know.
and I think if
got
you
it.
look at, I think if you look at the cost of living, and I don't know if you want to instead put a sentence in there that can give some idea and say, 2022, the overall cost of living or whatever was actually up. I think it was, what was the final number? Well, at one point it was 9%, then
It was
it dropped
9 and
back
now
down.
it's back down.
It was like
It's
in the
not-
6 or
it's not
7. So
down
it might be
now,
worth
7.
just saying, as in comparison to the overall.
I don't know if you want to say that though, because
Yeah,
we're
it's not
already
bad.
worried about their increases. and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
I can't afford
I
any
think
more
we
than
just-
If everybody's okay with just
Little
that
information
one,
as
Yeah.
possible. You don't want
Yeah.
to make any
Less
questions.
is more.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Whenever I make
Good.
stuff, I'm like, am I generating unneeded questions by the
Yeah,
information?
Exactly. I
That's
think
a
that,
that's a good point.
obviously,
Seth.
because we're having this conversation and so, you know, it's.
Yeah, and
I
if
think
we're
it's
doing
better
it in
just to leave
public about
yeah.
it, I think yeah. So that last line go, I think it's good.
So
Okay.
4.9% is the actual expenditures of
Okay,
the current budget we're in and the one that we're proposing.
okay,
So
great.
it's a $255,000 increase.
255,000, okay.
Is it really that we can afford, the district can afford, or is it that we're allowed by law to have a budget of 7.4?
According
without
to our
competition?
ED 279, that we can afford to have,
A
this
budget
is
that
the,
Okay.
high.
this is what they, yeah.
That
Yeah.
seems really high. I'm just,
It does seem high.
that seems like a lot of money. I'm already upset.
We're
about
doing awesome.
this.
So we're $2 million below what, you know, what, given our property values and all of that
Yep.
would allow us to do, so.
Which is
okay.
why we don't receive the money. from
Is that the
Fed.
last slide?
Right. That's exactly right.
All right.
That's
I'll
it.
Stop
Okay.
share.
Well done.
Good job, Georgia.
Any questions or
Thank you.
comments for Georgia?
Did we ever post the budget to the public on our website?
I think we're waiting till after this
We're
official
waiting
vote.
until after the.
Much
board
like we
meeting.
don't post our
We have
minutes.
we have to approve the budget first, Danielle, and then it will be posted.
Yeah,
So
because
it-
I knew we talked about it at the last meeting. I just didn't know when it was going to happen.
Yeah,
Roxanne brought up another point.
So after, if it's approved tonight, then the next step is this information all gets sent to the lawyer. Once the lawyer has done what they do with it and they send back all the information, then we can publicize it, but we cannot publicize it until that.
Do we vote on that, or does it automatically can be publicized once the lawyer approves?
Once
Do we
the
need,
law-
we don't need to have a separate
we
vote
don't need to
again?
have a second vote, no.
No, it's just when
We should just
when it
review it
gets
carefully.
sent back, then we will have another meeting where you sign all the paperwork.
But that's the warrant
Oh, that's-
signatures,
yes.
and that's at our May meeting.
Thank
I just
you.
want to make sure that,
And then it gets publicized once that all happens.
once we sign everything, right, so there's one more look, so we're
There's
not,
one more.
are we allowed to send it to the towns and plantations once the lawyer has blessed it, or we have to wait for the
We have
warrant?
to wait
We
for
have
the
to wait
warrants.
for those
That's what I
signed
thought.
warrants.
We have to wait for.
So
the
they're not
warrants.
gonna get it for another month, but
Correct.
if they do call and inquire, you can say approximately, this is where we're at.
Yes.
I think that's
I have
important for
been-
them
I
budgeting
have
wise,
been in contact with all of them.
so that they can plan budget wise.
Yes.
So
Okay,
does everybody understand the steps in the process? We
Yes.
approve the budget tonight as a board. We send the paperwork to the lawyer. He gives us the green light. We sign warrants so just as a heads up, at the May meeting, you need to be here physically because we sign the warrants that night as a board, and then it goes to the public. And then the town meeting, the general budget meeting occurs in June,
so May 9th,
May the 9th.
Victory in Europe Day.
Well, victory in America too. Okay, so
Big
any other
holiday.
comments, concerns, or questions?
Nope.
Okay, so I'd like to move then. Now, remember, this is a roll call vote as per our policy. So I'm going to do it action item by action item. So I'm sorry about that. I can't lump them all together. Starting with 10.1. I need a motion for the approval of the proposed
So moved.
23-24 budget for
Second.
$5,468,266.24.
So moved.
Chris, a second.
Second.
Danielle
Okay,
second.
any questions or discussion?
Nope.
Okay. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna. I wish could you say it out loud because I'm looking
She's
at.
trying to unmute. Give her a
Oh,
second.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, Johanna. Okay, Kayla,
Aye.
Karen. Aye. Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
I
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
me, I, and Bob Green is not here. Okay. Action item number 10.2, adult education. I need a motion to raise $13,945 for adult education.
I make a
Chris?
motion.
A second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Amber. Okay. Any questions or discussion?
Move
Nope.
the vote.
Okay. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen. Aye. Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay. Action item number 3, the school nutrition program. I need a motion to raise $10,000.
So moved.
Can I-
Second.
Seconded by Joan?
Yep.
Okay. Did you get that? Am I going too quickly?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Roxanne, does that cover us paying for food for all the kids for the whole year?
Yes, we've gone.
With
to a
our state
different-
subsidies?
We've gone to what they call provisions 2, which in that program, the kids, no matter what happens, that program, the kids eat for free.
Right.
Because that's important.
Oh,
I like it that
absolutely.
we're doing
Everybody,
that now.
everybody gets fed. Absolutely. Any other comments or questions? Okay, moving right along. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay. Item number 10.4, I need a motion to raise and authorize the expense of $50,000 into the capital reserve account for unexpected emergency maintenance and repairs to the unit's facilities and equipment. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Chris?
Second.
Joan? Okay. Second, Johanna? Okay. Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay. Calling for a vote. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
and I say aye. And I know this feels cumbersome, guys, but I'm following the policy that we adopted as part of our Zoom voting situation from COVID. And that's why this has to happen this way. A facilities and maintenance reserve account, transfer and authorize to expend $7,147.50 for unexpected emergencies and expenses not included in the operational budget.
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Okay, who second?
Kayla.
Kayla. Thank you, Kayla. Okay, questions or comments?
No.
This, by the way, is a new reserve account. We have added 2 new reserve accounts, and so.
The board
do you
has
have
to
any-
approve it.
You have to approve that. Do you have any questions about that? Okay, I'm seeing no questions. Okay, I'm calling for a vote. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay. Moving down then to an instructional reserve account. This is also a new reserve account. And I need a motion to transfer and authorize the expense of $7,147.50 from the available fund balances for unexpected emergency and expenses not included in the operating budget.
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Okay. Who seconded? I didn't see.
Danielle.
Oh, you did, Danielle. Thank you, Danielle. Okay. Any questions or discussion?
Nope.
Okay, calling for a vote. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
and I say aye. Okay, our last item with the budget. I need a motion for an open or a closed format. And this is important because an open format for all these articles recommends that they can allow for these articles to be amended up or down during the town meeting. And this has occurred in the past, only to find out that they were closed motions that could not be amended. So,
You mean the budget hearing, not the town
yeah,
meeting?
the budget hearing, at the budget hearing, that's correct,
But
that's
not the
correct.
town meeting.
So I need a motion for either an open or a closed format for these articles.
Okay, can
Move
you
that we
explain
do.
a little more? Because I'm like looking at it and I'm not exactly sure what this means.
We have to make a
Well-
motion.
Do you want to,
I make a motion.
Okay, and then we can discuss that. Okay.
Second,
Okay. For a motion for what? An open format or a closed format?
I think you need to explain what that means. for
Chris, do you want to explain that?
If
You
you'd
probably
like,
do
or
a better
you-
job than I will.
Yeah, well, so if we do a closed format, that means we put forth the budget. If all the people that show up to vote for the budget for some reason don't like something in the budget and they don't want to approve it, they vote it down, then the whole article gets voted down. We then have to start the process all over again. If we do an open article, then we can amend it. And that sometimes people will say, like, we've had people who wanted to add an extra $10,000 to the
School nutrition program.
school nutrition program. You're not allowed to do that. You either can vote it up or vote it down, but if you do the open format, you can adjust it. Some, if the public says,
Okay, but
we
how
don't think
if they're voting,
50,000.
they just vote yes, no.
I'm sorry, what, Danielle?
If they vote, it's either yes or no. So how do we know what they want?
well, they can make an amendment at the meeting
Yes.
to say, we want to increase this amount, or we want to decrease this amount. It allows more from the public participation versus us just dictating what each article says.
This is for the budget hearing, Danielle, not the town meeting where they vote.
Yeah, the
Oh,
town
okay.
meeting where they vote, they can only vote
Yes or
to
no?
approve the entire budget as it gets approved
Right.
at the budget meeting.
I think that's where she was confused. They're talking about the budget
That's where
hearing.
I was like, but it's either yes or no. Okay,
Right, well,
all right, I have clarity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what?
I have a question.
Yes,
Chris, can you parlay some of the advantages and disadvantages of doing open or closed?
Sure. So in a closed format, they can only vote it for the amount that's presented or lower. Right?
And that-
Yeah.
and that could be-
Yes.
that could be dangerous.
And that could be zero.
Yeah.
In an open format, it can allow for amending it up or down to the budget.
And how
So-
often does this come up?
historically,
lot.
Johanna, historically, it has happened, and it's happened where people in the community would like to see more money allocated for, say, a school nutrition program, and they wanted to raise that. And there was consensus in the community for us to do that. And or there was a situation 2 or 3 years ago where a board member didn't feel that we had enough money in a contingency fund, and they wanted to double that amount. And everybody agreed because an argument was built for that. But then because it was closed format, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
We tried
that
to
makes more
increase
sense.
the capital reserve
Capital reserve.
and we
account.
couldn't do it.
We were not allowed to do it.
Right.
So,
Because we'd had some other adjustments. So we can go through the night and people can say, well, we want to cut this or there. It allows for more discussion. And at the end, say, for instance, we cut 30,000 out of the budget, then somebody like me at the end is going to say, I want to put more money into the capital reserve of that 30,000 we
Right.
cut. We wouldn't be able to do that. We'd only be able to approve the 50,000 down. It allows for more, I think, more audience
Flexibility.
participation.
Flexibility.
It is, the pros is that the risk is that theoretically someone can come in and either add a bunch to the budget or take stuff away from the budget. With the close, they can only approve the amount that's there or less.
And what's the process after, say someone wants to increase the school nutrition component of the budget, what is the process after that? I mean, I know it goes to vote, but what's the process in the budget hearing?
Sure. In the budget hearing, say for instance, someone decides to increase the capital reserve from 50,000 to 100, then the global number of the entire budget adjusts. All the towns are notified of it for the election the next week.
Oh, but it is part of the discussion and voted on in the budget hearing in order to increase or
Yeah, so the
decrease.
budget- Right, so the budget hearing determines the final number. And then that number
then
is
the
sent to all the
town votes.
towns.
Then the
And then
town
on election day, they vote. So if 50,000 was added to the budget, then it would be 5,518,000. 266.24 would be the number that would be yes or no when you go into the voting booth on the 13th.
And that was your question,
Okay.
Danielle.
Just
Isn't it
curious, how
ultimately a yes or no? And that's when it becomes a yes or no.
Someone else said, just
You-
curious,
you
something I
clear?
heard.
Everybody have their questions answered about that?
I thought someone
Yes.
said, just curious.
Okay, so I need a motion. What, Danielle?
I was saying, just curious, how often does this happen, or has it happened?
It has happened.
This
In
is
15 years, I've seen it almost every meeting, somebody wants to adjust an article.
And usually it's
Okay.
an increase.
Right.
Usually it's an increase.
Yeah, we had, for instance, one year we churned the social services position to halftime. A bunch of people rallied, came to the meeting and said, no, we want to keep it full-time,
Full-time.
and they increased the budget. The nice thing about that was that it didn't really sit then on the board. It sat on the community, and we just said, look, that's what happened, and there. So it gives the flexibility for that.
Johanna?
Last year we were closed.
We had a hybrid 2 years ago when Brian was
Okay,
there.
2 years. Okay.
It's closed.
It was closed on the capital reserve articles in there. We had
Okay.
open on
Okay.
the first 9, but then 10, 11 through we
We're
couldn't do.
closed.
And I tried to increase it. We all approved it at the meeting, but then the lawyers came back and said,
do
sorry,
it.
it was
Can't do it."
closed.
Yeah.
So you can only go with the amount that was there. And
Okay, I remember.
I don't think there's any danger in having them as open articles. I
No, I
think,
just remember there was discussion. You're right. It was 2 years ago. There was discussion coming into it that we were opposite of where we wanted to be.
right.
yeah,
So it
and
does come up. It comes up quite frequently.
the lawyers didn't do what we asked them to do. They did what they thought was best. So
That's
we
right.
made sure it was clear,
Okay.
much to
Okay.
my frustration.
So may I have a motion for either an open or closed format?
Move that we have an open
Open
format.
format.
For all
Sec-
of the articles?
second.
Okay, and I have a second. Any more discussion? Okay, I'm gonna call for a
Johanna.
vote. Johanna, did you have another question?
No, she just seconded. We're
Oh,
clarifying for the
okay, I'm
record.
sorry. Okay, Kathy.
I'm for it, for open.
Okay, Johanna.
Aye.
Kayla.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Deborah.
Aye.
Danielle.
Deborah.
I know, where'd that come from? I don't know. It's getting late.
Says it on your screen.
Joan.
Aye.
Amber.
Yes,
And
aye.
Mary, aye. Okay, that gets us through those. Now, we
Hallelujah.
have three more action items, and then it's almost April vacation, although some of you, I think, are already enjoying part of that. From where you are. The first is in consideration of the 23-24 school year calendar that was in your packet. Can I hand that back to you, Georgia?
Yeah. As you will most likely notice, I'm bringing you the same calendar that was brought to you last month. There have been some questions about adjusting the quarters to meet the needs of the high school students who are taking online classes. And after doing some further digging on this, classes, I think one of the student reps said that the classes were dropped because of the overlap. My understanding today, after talking with our school counselor, is that it was the formatting of the classes, not the overlap of the classes, that the reason that they dropped.
But you can accommodate for that.
Yeah. Seth, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, Delaney said we did have some people drop intermediate math or something, but it wasn't about any overlap. It was about they didn't like the format, and it was proving to be more than they had bargained for. The student reps brought up the point about that overlaps. We looked in next year, if the quarters stay the same as a couple day overlap. And I guess this year we asked around, like nothing was really said, and we had it in the past, but if we know, we'll just look, we can make adjustments. We can work with whatever, if the class at RLRS will be like, okay, this student's starting something. Can we wrap up the quarter a little early? We can work that on like boots on the ground level. I think the quarters are good. You want like 44 to 42 days a quarter. As we are now, we have that. If we adjusted the second quarter, it would chop the third quarter down to 39 days, which is pretty short.
Yeah.
But we can make those adjustments. That's a building level. Like we can work with those kids to make sure they're taken care of.
So the concern the students had, you
It's been
acknowledge and can address.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
Okay, so may I have a motion to adopt the presented RLRS?
So moved.
Thank you, Debs. Can I have a
You're
second?
welcome.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor? I'm gonna do.
Oh,
What?
Danielle has the question.
I had asked for a second calendar for after Labor Day, because I've had multiple parents message and asking about, because the issue originally starting this and wanting to start before Labor Day was that they're like college students getting into their classes and things like that. But if we can accommodate them, then I don't see the issue
Okay.
in starting out.
Okay, let's take a vote on this motion on this calendar, and then if this gets voted down, then we'll ask for a second calendar. Is that acceptable? That's the way the process should proceed.
Well, I
This-
think
Well, this calendar is before Labor Day.
Yeah.
This calendar is
Yeah.
before Labor Day. That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
I abstain.
okay, Caleb,
It's a no from me.
okay, Karen.
Aye.
Chris,
I'm going to abstain at this point.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
No.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Abstain.
okay, and it's an aye for me. So I think the motion pass? Probably
Where's
not.
the computer?
I don't know. We would have to.
So we're putting the calendar, I guess my only frustration here is that this is the calendar the teachers want. This is the calendar the students want. This is a calendar that the public, at least who cared enough about the issue to respond to a parent survey, said they wanted. Where are we with not approving the calendar? Are we going to put ourselves in a bind? We cannot be more than 5 days off our commitment to the tech center. We're 3 days off now.
Mary.
Can I propose a compromise?
Can I
Let
just
us
say,
go forward with this calendar, but allow some flexibility if parents with that last week allow some flexibility
Well,
if
that
their
historically is what
students want
happens
to
anyway.
start.
They take a lot of flexibility anyway.
I was gonna
Oh, I
say,
know they do.
it anyway. I mean, they're gone.
But I mean, to try to address, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to cause a major thing with this, but I'm just trying to say is, Danielle gets the same ears that I get on some of this stuff, and it comes up there that if we say, okay, look, we're going to stick with this district thing, but talk with the school if for some reason it's not going to be able to work out of there. We grant a lot of latitude in April. So
Sure do.
if that works out best for people, if they can reach out to the school and make the educational part and at least do it similar to they do in April for those 2 or 3 days in September, in August, then I think we can still accomplish the community goal and work on the speeds. That's all I'm offering as a compromise to say that we can note that the students can do that. And I get all the reasons for starting sooner, and I hear loud and clear that it's been voted on those pieces, but there are still some of the people that chirp in on this. And if we can say, look, the administration will work with those parents that if that's the only week that works for them to be able to do that part, we can work out some of those issues, because not a lot happens in those first 2 or 3 days. And I know that going on the other end, June's a nightmare. Everybody wants to get out and play in the rain, and I'm okay with that. But I think it's a lot, and I hear the argument loud and clear that, it's a lot harder to keep the students focused in June than it is in August.
Well, and I've spent a lot of time canvassing Danielle, I see your hand is up and I'll call on you just a second. And Johanna, okay.
And we've done this
But
review.
I have also done a lot of canvassing with staff in the building.
we know what
and-
staff wants.
And they are very clear that those 3 days prior to school start are very productive days for them in terms of organizing the students, organizing their classrooms, and getting the year started so that when kids walk in the door on that Friday, they're ready to rock and roll. So I'm just listening to what staff has had to say.
No, and I understand. And we've done over the years, this has been a 15-year discussion since I've been on the board. And we've done surveys and we've done all these things. And we've had some surveys come back that were completely opposite that people wanted to start after. We've done this. It constantly changes every year. So all I'm just saying for a compromise is to say, look, we hear loud and clear what the staff wants in those pieces. Those parents that it doesn't work for, please petition the school and say, you need to be, this is the only time your family trip can work, and then work it out. I don't think it's any different than half the schools cleared
Chris,
out.
I've heard you. Danielle.
Okay, so I'm just kind of curious what parents responded to the survey. Like, do they work at the school, or do they have no ties within the school? Because I responded, but I don't want to know my response. I want to know the people's response that don't work at the school. How many of those people responded to that?
I can't answer that. Can you answer that?
Yes.
We sent it out to parents, so I'm sure parents of students responded, but that survey went out to parents. So parents,
yeah,
some teachers have.
And I know
kids.
that it was sent out to. I'm sorry, Kath. I know it was sent out to students too in high school.
It was done.
Or am
yeah.
I wrong?
They
Well,
voted.
student council
Student
took
council
vote.
voted.
Student council voted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just curious on how many people voted that has zero ties to the school. Because the staff wants to start before.
They would not have gotten the survey, Danielle, if they weren't a parent of a child in the building.
No, I'm saying that don't work at the school, that don't work at the school. Or aren't on the.
I don't know.
I think it's Danielle, I'm sorry, but I think your comment is irrelevant because if they have, they have the interest as being an employee of the school, but also an interest of being a parent. Let's hope that they divided that decision. Mary, may I say something, please?
Yes, please. You're muted.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Am I there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you are.
Okay. My
I can hear
my abstention draws from the fact that we still were presented two options, yet we were visually given one option that feels very forced upon us and very, very one-sided. Both sides should still have been presented. Both calendars should have been presented to the board for review, for vote. And it still did not happen.
Kayla.
That's my only argument as well, is I asked for who responded to the survey, and I asked for a second option 2 times for the calendar, and we still haven't received it. I'm not arguing I'm okay with the compromise. It's not even about that anymore. It's about the fact that we've asked for something several times and still not gotten it. That's my reason for saying no.
Really just adding 2 days on to the end of this current calendar. That's really all it is.
But I think the point,
I understand the point.
And it
the
wasn't-
point is that this is what this administration is forward. We're bringing one calendar. This is the calendar that we're recommending. If you don't want to approve this calendar, don't approve this calendar.
And our vote has already been cast, so we can move on from discussion now. And however the vote ended, I'm not sure. Can we get an official count of the vote, please?
Well, I think it's clear that, Joe, did you want to say something?
Well, I did. I wanted to respond because I think that when you were talking about that being flexible with college students and courses, that was in referring to the second semester college students, not students that were taking college courses in August. Right, and that was a big problem with last year. I don't know if that was what you were thinking or not, but that is an issue.
Well, I think
It's only the very beginning that was covered. That's the only start date that was the same. After that, every other quarter was different.
I think we're at a point where we're having a circular conversation, and I think that underlying this, it has more to do with the fact that 2 calendars were not presented to you rather than taking a vote. So
Well,
the motion that was on the table was voted down.
right.
I just want to make a point about the 2 calendars. Every year, it's like when you bring a policy to the board or the calendar to the board, you bring a policy. We brought a calendar to the board. If you don't want to approve a policy as written, you make amendments to the policy, write notes in it, and then you vote on it. That would be the same thing would apply. You don't bring 2 versions of the policy to the board. And really we brought this one, you can make amendments to it. If you don't like it, you just basically adjust the beginning and the end day, and the quarters won't move too much. It's just, I think it's time to have a calendar if we can just have this calendar, because
Look, I'm trying to work towards this
Kayla,
I put a little.
Danielle, and then Chris.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to drag this out any longer. I think we need to make a decision as well. My question is, if, as Georgia mentioned earlier, it's only 2 days, why can't we find those 2 days within the calendar and everybody gets what they want?
You can appease the masses and
Well, Kayla, part of the problem with that is that this calendar
Friday
is
before
aligned
vacation
with
week.
the tech center. It's aligned with the State Department. It's aligned with the MPA and all of the sports things that occur. So you can't start messing with vacations and other days like that, because we'll be out of alignment with that.
But it's only 2 days.
Mary,
days.
I have a
Mount Blue
question
does not
that's
have that day.
Is Mount Blue off Friday?
I
No.
really think right now, I really think right now we're
That's
having the
unique to
same,
us.
we're having the same circular conversation that
Well,
we
no,
had
they
last
asked
night.
I don't necessarily agree with that. And
What
but I,
don't
Can
you
I
agree
say
with?
something, please?
Yes, Johanna.
I had asked last time to be sent the stipulations based upon state and holidays to be sent to the board, and we never received that because I was going to develop my own calendar to be able to counter propose. However, I don't have enough information to be able to do that. So moving forward, if that could have been given to us, then I think we could have looked at the workshop day, like this coming workshop day on Friday. If we could adjust that to make up those 2 days before Labor Day in order to make up the student days for the counts, to adjust so we could start after Labor Day. That's where I'm coming in with, we didn't get a presentation of 2 calendars. There's no outside the box thinking to appease the people, because it was almost 50-50, if I recall, with parents, the parent survey.
Okay.
it was
We
36.
still, what was it, Chris?
Like so many things. So just to clarify, the 12th is a day that we have an extra vacation day in April. I think a number of years ago, before I came back, so many families leave that there was like nobody at school on that day. Like already.
And the same thing can be said for Labor Day weekend. That
the traditional data wouldn't support that. But anyways, some of the things, like I appreciate the out of the box, Johanna, but like already I weighed in last week with the Maine Principal Association. They want to move the state ski race to the week after February break. And then now our kids would be on it. It's like so many things are aligned to the traditional vacation weeks. It's just, but that I just want to clarify, the 12th is not a workshop day. That is a day that was added into our calendar because so many people leave. So that, just to clarify that.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, so it's an additional vacation day?
It's just a vacation.
Yep. It's a vacation day.
That could be taken prior to Labor Day.
I'd like to hear some other voices in the discussion. Amber.
I abstain because I just feel that a lot of the information, I haven't been here, for one thing. And I'm hearing that we as a board right now don't seem to have the information that maybe some of us are thinking that it's common sense that we know, but we don't know.
Okay.
So we could go on this all night long.
Of course we
but
could.
I think Johanna's brought up some good things. And like I said, I'm guilty. I haven't been here, but I did see the minutes, and the note said some time ago, somebody wanted to see some alternatives to 2 calendars. Then they want to know about Foster's. I just think maybe our administrators, which you're doing a great job, maybe it should be said, this is when Foster starts, this is how many high school kids are gonna be affected if they don't have their computers, if we start after Labor Day or not, or somebody can help them. Where's another day besides the 12th that Seth's just talking about? We don't have that information, you do, or maybe like we could go to the state and get it, but as a board member right now, I'm feeling like we're not informed.
Okay, here's what, well, the motion did not
Thank
pass.
you, Amber.
The motion didn't pass, so here's what I'm gonna suggest. I'm gonna suggest that Georgia and Seth come back to the board in May with 2 calendars. In addition, I'm going to ask each of you who want to know specific information about how the calendar was formed or MPA or any of those questions that you feel a need to have answers to so that you can pass the calendar, to get those questions into Georgia no later than this coming Friday. Can you do that?
I did this last time.
Just
Yes.
adjust
Well-
the calendar. Just
But
adjust
I'm,
it.
but
At
I,
this point-
first of
Wait,
all,
Miss Fee.
I'm not clear on what it is
Adjust it.
Well, see,
for information. Really, there's two things that impact this calendar. It has to be 175 days, and it can't be more than 5 dissimilar days from the Foster Tech calendar.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
those are the things that really come into play around this. I surveyed everybody. I asked for people's voices to chime in on where they wanted to go. I felt like I did due diligence in making sure that everybody got a voice in the calendar. I've asked board members to please email me questions when information is sent out.
I see your
And
hand,
I
Chris.
did get a couple of
I got
questions,
skipped already,
which
so,
I did answer, and I very much appreciate. I would appreciate the questions coming to me because I don't know what all of your questions are. And so, those are really the 2 biggest pieces in creating a calendar are that school days, we have to have 175 days, and it can't be more than 5 dissimilar days from, we're at 3 right now. So
Well, doesn't MPA
If
play a
we
role
start
too,
after-
though,
if
with
we
respect
start-
to sports?
right, and if we start after Labor Day, that's going to push it to more dissimilar days.
We'll be right at 5.
Yes, Chris.
So I've been on and off this board since 2008. This is always a discussion, and I feel politically, and this is why I've asked it every year, is that we just get 2 versions of the calendar. I am perfectly fine with going with the version that we have here, and I think we can get everybody to do that and approve it tonight with the condition that I suggested, that if parents have a conflict, to reach out to administration if they want to do a trip, to do that there, because we started last year after Labor Day. What's that, Karen?
Would you say, Karen?
Karen, you just
People
muttered
aren't-
several
people
times. I
are
haven't
not
heard a word out of you
Taking any
officially.
trips on Labor Day weekend, I'm not sure what.
Well, I don't know, maybe not in your family, but in some of ours it does. So
There's-
that was
there's
the only
always-
time.
Listen, there's always been flexibility
Right.
with the school around Labor Day weekend, especially.
I'd like to
because-
finish my comments if I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're the one that asked Karen to respond.
Yeah, I did.
didn't.
I asked Karen to
didn't-
respond. So the point that I want to make with this is that I don't know why we're beating our head against the wall when this is something, I think I'm very flexible on what we request from the administration. And
That
this is
point has
something
been
I
made.
have asked for every year to happen.
That point's been made.
And this, I felt, be honest, I felt it was kind of strong arm. Walk in with the RTA approved, walk in with the student and council approved. Then we had this bomb that was dropped by the student things. We've now addressed that, but we asked 3 times for that. Now, whether or not we approve the 2 different versions, I think we still would walk out with the same result. But I think politically that if you go back and look at all the historical surveys that have been done for the past 10 years, it's almost right down the middle. So I think politically it makes sense for us to have 2 versions to look at. I would like to implore you to do that for next year. And I'm perfectly fine with approving this calendar this year. And I say, let's approve it so we can get everybody scheduled and start with the caveat that
Can I
I
have a
mentioned
motion
there.
to that effect?
I will make that motion,
Please.
but I would like it duly noted to the administration that next year I expect to see.
I second.
Thank you. Who seconded? Danielle?
Kayla.
Kayla? Okay. All right. I'm gonna I think the discussion, we've had this discussion 2 meetings, so I think everything that needs to be said has been said. So I'm going to call for a vote again. That is my understanding. What, would you clarify what your motion specifically is?
My motion is to approve the calendar as presented by the staff for this year. And that next year we get shown 2 versions of the calendar, before and an after Labor Day version. And that's a standard that's done for years to come forward. And that if parents have a trip already planned, because last year it started after Labor Day, they can reach out to the administration to get approved absences for their students.
Everybody clear on that motion?
Yes.
Can I have a second?
I still second.
Okay, thank you, Kayla. All right, I'm going to call for a vote. Kathy?
Sleeping. She fell asleep.
Kathy, are you still here?
She's muted.
Might be muted, but I can't unmute her.
Okay, I'm going to move on then. Johanna?
I abstain.
Kayla?
Can't hear you.
Muted.
What?
I abstain.
Okay. Karen?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Deb?
Aye.
Danielle?
No.
Joan?
Aye.
Amber?
Aye.
Mary? Aye. Is there enough for the motion to pass?
Do we have our spreadsheet?
I got
There's
it.
3 Rangeley
Chris
votes.
and I changed, but I'm in the plantation. We didn't have mine.
Well, we got 3 Rangeley votes, so
I think
probably
it passed.
passed, but we're not sure. We'll
So
find
what does
out.
it have to?
You only have 2, right?
No, we did not have
We have
3.
3, Deb, me, and Karen.
Yeah,
That's 3.
true.
Oh, yeah.
Just a second while we check it.
So does it have to add up to the quorum number?
It has to add up, you take your quorum and your percentage over, and Bob's not here, so I'm pretty sure with 3 Rangeley
Without
votes.
Bob, girl.
She's got the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, but,
Can you help?
So 131 times 3.
So Kathy didn't vote.
Well, she's muted.
Well, she's got to unmute to vote.
Yeah, they couldn't get it.
Call her.
I agree.
I'll
Can you
work on
call
it.
her?
I'll try. Hold on.
Danielle just left. Did
No, she
Danielle-
just turned her camera off. She didn't leave.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
I'm
this
here.
is-
Sorry. I'm just.
Oh, you're here. Okay, I can't.
My kids are bothering me.
You're there, then you're gone.
We have children bothering us on the sidelines, so we have to keep shooing them away.
Conversation really works in there, so-
At my house, it's cats.
Joan.
How much is Joan?
Can you switch that tab back? I
My
hate
dog would be
apples.
barking in the
Joan
background.
and Amber.
Which, oh.
Yeah, we're
I
very
can't get to
tiny,
that
but-
tab.
Right.
Joan Dunlap's
Very
with how many?
valuable.
I don't know why it's not, I don't know what I did.
What's Joan Dunlap?
It's right
Okay.
there.
Who's is she 81?
Okay.
I don't know. I can't
I
see.
know. It's like, it's like.
Kathy, come back on yet?
She hasn't. I can't see her full cell phone, and on the school's page, it's just her home phone. I'm thinking about hanging her up so she'll call back in.
So that's
Maybe
safe.
that'll.
Oh yeah, kick her out. She'll come back.
Yeah.
Sean, hang on just a second. I might have her phone number.
Oh, you might.
Hang
Okay.
on. I might. Let me look.
31?
I think.
Quorum, we only need 500 out of total votes of 937. We have 531
Okay. so
with
the
823 voting, so we have a majority.
So the motion
The
passed.
motion passed.
Okay, moving on. We have a consideration of an overnight senior class trip to a Boston Red Sox game.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. And did any questions or discussions on the
Was in
senior
our packet.
Boston trip? They're gonna not only
Nope.
go on a Red Sox game, but they're gonna go on a duck boat tour and go to
Deb.
the aquarium. Deb, you have something?
I just want to say that the Red Sox are terrible this year. I will totally approve it, but they'd be better off to just go to a Sea Dogs game. Just saying.
Wow.
Can anybody,
Kathy's back.
Ouch,
Ouch, Deb, that
Kathy's
They're,
back.
they're terrible.
Oh my
Mary,
God.
Kathy's back.
Hi, Kathy.
Well, we're all
I don't
sending you.
know.
Whoa.
I don't know what happened, but I voted for your proposal,
We
Chris.
need a higher vote count. Kathy,
Okay, does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened.
Well, it's all right. Not a problem.
Okay.
We've got a critique of the Red Sox, which has something to
Yeah.
do, I guess, with this out-of-state.
They're behind 2-0 right now, just saying. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is
Any
a
more-
big baseball fan.
Any more discussion?
No, move the question.
Okay, all those in favor?
Roll call, right?
Yep,
Oh.
I have to do a roll call, I'm sorry.
I'm so, what are we voting for now?
The Red Sox game.
No, it's a trip to Boston.
What are we voting for now?
Kathy, it's a trip for the
Yeah.
senior kids to go to Boston.
Oh, okay, yes, I'm for that.
Okay,
Yeah, but
Johanna.
I'm a Yankee fan.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home and shoot myself. Okay, Kathy. Yes, please, Johanna.
Aye.
Johanna. Okay, Kayla.
Yes.
Please don't go home and shoot yourself, though.
Okay, Garrett. Okay, Chris. Chris.
Aye.
Deb.
Aye.
Deb. Okay, Danielle.
Aye.
Okay, Joan.
Aye.
Amber.
Aye.
And I say aye. Okay, we have one last motion. And that is a consideration of two policies we're bringing to the board that we are recommending be rescinded because they are redundant. And I'm going to have Seth explain to you about them. One of them is a course screening policy, and the other is the parent guardian agreement about publishing student information on the website, pictures of students and that type of thing. Seth.
You okay with me doing this, Kathy?
Yes, please do. Thank you.
So the course screening policy, first it was like all over the place, but all of that stuff is in the program of studies. It's basically just prerequisites to take courses. And I don't know where, it was all over the place. Like to be in the 95th percentile in the SATs, to take, what was it, an honors class? I don't know. All of that stuff's in the program of studies.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. And the parent agreement, it was in the, I think what we're getting at, it was in the policy handbook, but it's in the packet that we send home anyways to the parents at the beginning of the year. Like it's a form in there that it doesn't need to also be a policy. We don't need that as a policy in our.
We have a,
Yeah, as a
parents
form.
all sign
It
that
goes home.
paperwork in advance. So
Yeah.
it's just redundant. So can I have a motion to rescind those two policies, please?
I'll
So
move it.
moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Okay. Kathy,
Aye.
Johanna,
Aye.
Kayla,
Aye.
Karen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Deb,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Joan,
Aye.
Amber,
Aye.
me, aye. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. I'm going to the pool, guys. I'm going to the pool.
Thank you. Thank you for chiming in
A
tonight.
second?
Have a nice time.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Enjoy your vacations.
Thanks.
Have a good night, everyone.
See you,
Good
Sean.
night.
Thank you, Sean.
Nice
Sean,
job,
take
Seth.
care.
Feel better, Sean. Feel better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care.
I went